Grand Rising! Happy Saturday, entrepreneurs, nonprofit, community leaders. I hope you guys are having an amazing last week of April and you're having an amazing spring in general. Spring is my favorite season. It's always the busiest and most profitable season for our business as well. It's like all those seeds. I love that seed time and harvest concept of spring. It's also a full moon coming up this Monday, which I love as well. You guys know who's on with me right now, which is Kandis, my sister. If you guys are joining in and chiming in, I'll tell you a little bit about her if you haven't seen her before. But she's been on several times since she started her business, which was just about a year ago. So congratulations for being a year in business.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. As you guys are joining in, as you see, we have this question here. What advice would you give for entrepreneurs in their first year of business? Majority of you guys watching, and just say hello, where you're watching from, how the weather is there, so I can know who's watching. But most of you guys who are watching have started your business or your nonprofit already, and you probably have surpassed that year. I would say about 75% of our clients have surpassed that year. So you guys might have some advice or some things that you thought would take place in the first year and some lessons that you've learned. So please use this time to give your advice as well. Let us know what tips you have and what you've learned in business as well. One thing that I will say immediately concerning this question is I've realized that what you think your first year of business is, or what your perception of business is outside of being in business, is always different. Would you agree?
Yes, I would say the exact same thing. Everything that you think will go, you may think something will go one way and then it goes completely different. Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I think that one of the biggest things is just being willing to stay in the step you're in. That was actually, and we'll go ahead and dive right in. Good morning, Marika.
Hey,
Good
Marika.
morning, Patricia. Hello from Delaware. Awesome. And good morning, Ben from Detroit.
Hey, Ben.
That's our hometown. That's where Kandis is still in Michigan there. Definitely always got a heart for the D. Hello. Thanks for chiming in. Hey, Dominique. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Nicole. We really appreciate you guys chiming on. And so the engagement question that we have today is, what advice would you give for entrepreneurs in their first year of business? Like I said, I know a lot of you guys are either in your first year of business or you either surpassed your first year of business. But what I was about to go into was the first thing that I really got to observe Kandis doing that I think was huge when it came to her nonprofit, or I'm sorry, her business. She has a business, not a nonprofit. But when it came to her business, which was, she was focused on one step at a time. I really remember those days, like when you were building it, you were like, I just have my one task that I have to do each day. And as long as I get that done, I'm good to go. One day it might have been articles. One day it might have been you're working on the website or outsourcing. You also, at the very beginning, was okay with outsourcing some tasks, which is huge.
Yeah.
Would you say that was a big thing that kind of, do you think it was always that way? Or you got to an aha point where you would really start to like focus on those one things, one step at a time?
Yeah, I did. I honestly did try to take on every single task, and just the thought of it kind of stressed me out. Like, oh my goodness, so I got to do this. I got to do this. I got to do this. But that kind of just takes away the focus of what I'm really good at. Because, man, speaking of outsourcing can be your best friend.
Yes.
Because a lot of companies specialize in what you may need specifically. So that's a task that you can just let someone maybe professional in that particular area do. And that takes that off your hands and out your, thought process completely. So you can really focus on what you're good at. You know what I'm saying? And what you offer to the clients, and be the forefront of your business. Because, if you're focusing on too many tasks at a time, it's not going to work,
Absolutely. I said, just because you can do it doesn't mean you should do it. You know, I'm a learner at heart. I love to find something I want to learn. And I like to say that anything that I want to learn, whether it be with something to do with my hands, I'll take it. I'll take it back. And I'll say, if it's physical, like athletic or something like that, I can't do it. But anything outside of that, if I really take the time to learn it, I feel like I really can learn it. With that being said, that's a lot of entrepreneurs. They're like, I'll take care of it. Let me go ahead and do it. Let me do it right. Let me do it this way. Let me save my money. And sometimes that can actually be a recipe for a disaster. And that's actually you not investing in yourself. sometimes it's important to go ahead and invest in yourself and say, well, wait a minute, is this where my time is best spent? Sometimes that's just not where your time is best spent, especially if you have a scope of the things that you know that you need to do in your business or in your nonprofit. And you're like, oh man, I got to do this, I got to do that. This can be outsourced. This part can't be outsourced. So you have to, that's a good question to ask yourself is this my best use of time? Right. My best use of time. And that can be for anything. That can be for stuff around the house. Like, you know what? Would it be more beneficial for me as far as what I can bring in to get someone to come in once a week to do some things around the house while I focus those 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours on work? You know what I mean? Will it be more beneficial than what I would pay for them? Yeah. Those are big girl decisions to make in your business, and learning to invest in yourself is early is something that a lot of people don't. A lot of times that's the biggest mistake in the first year is they're like, no, I'm gonna just do this, I'm gonna do that. Then it's halfway done. Patricia said, have an open mind. Simple as that.
Man, you have to have an open mind. Yes, I agree wholeheartedly, because like I was saying, things may work out completely different than what you expect, or may happen completely different than what you expect, especially in the beginning, because you're just learning, you know.
Absolutely. So, yes. I mean, even taking the open mind a step further and saying, think of yourself as learning and as, okay, I'm going to focus on whatever this task is in front of me. Again, stay in the step you're in. So if the task in front of you is you don't have a website for your nonprofit or your business, every nonprofit or business needs to have a website. So if you don't have that, that might be okay. I need to either outsource this. I need to either take the time, set the time away, to the side to get this done. And I need to put a date as to when I'm going to work on this and when I'm going to get it done. Also, having a mind of what can I give? What problems am I solving? How can I create win-wins? Sometimes the business and sales mind is, how can I do the least and get the most? How can I, how can I have this just flowing in at this amount of time residually, and I just sit back and not do much? And that mindset kind of is outside of the mindset of giving. When you're first starting in business, people don't know who you are. They don't know, they don't trust who they don't know. So a lot of times giving information, a lot of times doing beta testing out your services or testing out your coaching program or your products on individuals, and really seeing how those work and make sure that you're adding value can really change things, because then you're not selling no more. You're like, oh, I'm about to do this for you. I'm going to set up your nonprofit so you can get funding, and I know how to do that. Yeah. I'm going to set up your payroll so you can have your people get paid, and I know how to do that. I'm going to set up your website so that you can have people to donate and to purchase products and services, and I know how to do that. And these are all things that are going to be investments on your end, so that you'll get something back in the end, and you'll get back. My goal is always that you'll get back more than whatever you invested into this program. So when you think of it like that, it's really like, and I don't want to sound like, I don't know, like uppity or anything like that, but it's really a matter of, when you invest in yourself, when you invest in your knowledge, when you know what you do well, it's really a matter of the clients that are linked to you. They are in a great position. It's like they should be honored to work with you, because you have developed yourself, you know what you're doing, and you know this is going to be a win-win. So it should be a win on both ways. Like, okay, they're winning working with me because I know I can development, and I'm winning working with them because this is my business. You know what I mean? And so that's huge.
Sometimes when it comes to maybe necessarily clients you may not necessarily work well with, because every client, at first I felt like I was trying to take on the task of working with every client. But sometimes it just doesn't work that way. You know what I'm saying? And if you realize that benefits both you and the client, because it may be a matter of you not necessarily offering the particular product that you feel is best for that client, or it could possibly just be energies. Your energy and that client's energy is just not on the same page. But if you're forcing something, that's what I realized early in advance. I'm not going to force any of my clientele, because if you're in if you're in the right space and where you're supposed to be and building up where you're supposed to be, all the energies will kind of intertwine that way, and opposed to you having to chase down clients and all that. You know what I'm saying?
Or even just setting a tone for your pace, your structure of your business, your timelines as to when you know you can get something done. And my thing is always, whatever my structure is, whatever my timeline is, I've created that over period of time, because I know that if I do it this way, if I serve this many clients a week, if I have this many calls per week, I'll be able to show up at my best for my clients. So what I'm doing is putting myself in the best situation where I can really truthfully serve you. So every so often, like you just stated, someone comes in and they don't want to do the system. They got their own system going on, and they want this tomorrow, and they want this, and you be like, well, wait a minute. We have just, trust the process. It goes back to that trust the process. Or maybe this isn't a good process for you, or maybe this isn't a good product for you. Maybe you're more aligned with our tutorial or recorded program, or maybe you'll align more with our hands-off program, our coaching program. Being okay with the fact that it may not be a good fit on either side. If you learned that in your first year, girl, you 10 steps ahead, because it took me a long time, especially as a minority coming into business. It was always like, oh, okay, but this is a business opportunity. Oh, okay, I need to be, I don't want to, Marika, one of her favorite statements is, don't leave no money on the table. And so I'm like, wait a minute, if I leave money on the table here, wait a minute, but that's not always, you have to know what you do well. And sometimes you'll get the most respect for telling someone, you know what, I know my lane. This is not my lane. I can see if I can refer someone, which leads to another little point, which is a business is a hexagon. So your whatever your area is that you serve, you should also know who else serves in that area. You should know who serves in another area that's a little different. For an example, we're meeting with someone who specifically serves in sponsorship, getting business sponsorships for your nonprofit events. That's what she does. So we'll be meeting with her next week just to kind of see how we could collaborate. But always know and always have people around you that maybe do a different aspect of your business, so you all can flow into each other and you can refer. Me and Kandis refer to each other all the time, so that's important as well. Marika said, follow your passion, make goals, make a business plan, and ensure you do your research. Thank you, Marika. Do your research. That's so important.
That is so important.
That is so important. It's so important to stay on top of your craft, whatever that craft is, because it is constantly changing. What worked pre-pandemic may not work post-pandemic, may not work during this time. What worked 5 years ago, which is why it's so important to always be doing the research. And I say, if you can create something that's trending, that, okay, I've done my research, I see what's being done. How can I make this easier? How can I make this more of a win-win? How can I iron out some of the kinks? And how can I make this system better and create something new in that space? That's what comes up when you properly do your research.
Yeah,
absolutely. Let's see. I agree. I outsource a lot. Yes, you do, Nicole. Thank you. And we appreciate that. Absolutely. Yes. Outsourcing. Sometimes it's about, and if you have, there's a lot of nonprofits here and a lot of people in business in general that have some type of mentorship based nonprofit or business. And I would say, even if it's not mentorship based, you're always in mentorship. You're always mentoring, because you have your team, you have your board members, you have whoever is going to be served by your nonprofit and your business. So you're showing them how to handle business as well. So when you see another sister outsourcing, making sure that she's the rudder of the ship, so to speak, like, okay, I need this done. This is the best way to do it. I think that that's great mentorship, because someone else coming up, whether it be your child, whether it be another business person, a client, or whatever the case may be, they see that. And that's where that real learning and change takes place. So
yeah,
I agree with that.
I agree.
Let's see what else we have here. Ben said he agrees. One of my main things is to always challenge myself. When you challenge yourself, you learn so much. That's true. You're not afraid of challenging yourself in business. That kind of leads to our other tip, which is back to that open mind. You're kind of open to what a client comes to you with, as far as maybe changing up your services, if it's something you're interested in, and just being open in that sense, especially as a new business, because you might find some other areas of need. I know you've done some things with PPP. You're also doing some a project right now with a specific licensing application, which, if it ends up being something that you enjoy, that ends up being something that you may be able to offer to other people in the community as well, because now you know how to license a group home. You know what I mean? And so that's awesome. Absolutely.
And then every business is different. They may need different things. And so if you're building relationships with these businesses and they're inquiring about different things that you possibly could do, why not? You know what I'm saying? Learn different systems, or even just provide the knowledge, because you may think like, oh no, but it may already be something that you basically know how to do, or you know the information on. So So why not continue to grow that relationship? Because ultimately that grows your relationship with the business, like I said, that you've already established. If they're looking for additional services and things like that, you know?
Absolutely. It's growing that relationship. You're learning some new things as well during that time. And you might find that I will tell you guys one thing that is a trend when it comes to new businesses. Twitter started as a dating app. I don't know if you guys knew that, but a lot of businesses do not start off as what they end up being. Most of them, it's not the vision that they had when they started is not what where they end up really serving in. And when you have a sense of service, I know for me, when it comes to management, organizing, breaking down things, and I think same thing for you, that's easy for you. Some people look at an application or paperwork and stuff like that, and they immediately get overwhelmed. That's just something that's a gifting, like just, okay, it's just a matter of taking care of one section at a time. If that's a gifting, then that opens you up to do several things. So you should always be open to what is the greatest level that I can serve in. I might have this vision of service, but maybe you could serve in a greater level, and that'll take your whole business up if you continue to have that open mind.
Yeah.
You know, absolutely. Marika said take risk. Would you say that you've taken some risk in your business?
Sometimes you have to. Sometimes it's kind of in the beginning it can be a little scary to take a risk, but you have to. You sometimes you have to take risks because you just never know. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of a balance. You have to find balance, because that was the one little area I was a little bit nervous. I kind of wanted to be, you know, specific and by the book, but to touch on that topic, I would say taking risks and then being delicate with yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes it was like, sometimes I would be so hard on myself if something didn't work out how it was, but you know, or how I thought it should be. But sometimes you just have to really be delicate with yourself, because you know, this is your baby and you know, you want everything to be right. But at the same point in time, you know, it's only so much you can do. You know what I'm saying? You say, okay, you know, it's easier said than done, but some stuff you just have to let it roll off your shoulders. You have to, got to pick yourself back up, you know, motivate yourself, and don't focus on what didn't happen with your business, but focus on where you are from maybe where you were last year, or some of the goals that you set last year. You know what I'm
yesterday.
saying? Or wherever your time, however your time frame looks.
You know what? Today.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's where those baby steps come into play as well, where it's like, okay, I got this step done, so I know I'm a step closer. I may not be there, because I will tell you guys, just come from dealing with entrepreneurs and from starting several businesses and starting several nonprofits, the road always seems a little shorter than it ends up being. And you'd be like, oh, okay, right after this, it's going to be real smooth. Then some other things are revealed at that level where you have to adjust some other things. You're like, oh, okay, wait, I still got a little ways to go. Now I'm realizing, wait a minute, right. I still got to do this. Or wait, okay, that's how you're supposed to market. Oh, really? I got to show up every week and produce a show every week. All righty. Right. You know, that's going to be a challenge, but let me figure out what I need to do that, if that's what it takes, to make sure that I'm serving my clients at their best and I'm able to attract more clients as well that we can serve as well, you know? So just always living and learning, like you said, just taking it that one step at a time. I think it's easier to be delicate on yourself when you're celebrating those small wins and you're just focused on that step. When you start focusing on the whole giant big picture, which sometimes that's important. In the beginning phases, it's important to look at the giant picture so you can then break it down to, what do I need to do this year? What do I need to do each month? Who has done this before? What research can I look into? Who has done this before? What's worked for them? What hasn't worked for them? So sometimes it's good to have that big picture to begin, but always break it down into those small steps and celebrate your wins. Next week, we're going to be having on Valerie from An Awesome Place, who just last weekend did a sneaker ball, her first live event, and she raised almost $7,000. Guys, surpassed her goal.
Yes.
And, you know, and that's a win for her. Don't always compare your wins to another nonprofit organization or some nonprofit that's been developed for 5 or 10 years. You know, that's why it's so important to do your research so you can know what is typical when it comes to nonprofits or businesses. What does the typical business, how do they typically do on their first year? You know what I mean? So that's why that's so important. But I think that celebrating those wins, each small wins, sometimes the vision is so big and people are so focused on that big picture that something great happens and they don't take the time to celebrate. And what kind of energetic message is that? If it was your first sale and your first sale was $10, that's your first sale. That's your first donation. Okay, well, what did I do? How did I connect to this person? What are they connected to that caused them to donate? What would happen if I could get 10 people to donate $10 per month, a group of 50 people? What all would I be able to do with that? You know what I mean? Really just honing in and really making sure you squeeze out. One of the things that I do to do that is I write down my wins, not just business wins, personal wins, relationship wins, people I connected with, anything that did not have to happen, which is truthfully not one thing. You didn't even have to wake up this morning. You know what I mean? And so just celebrating each of those wins, I think really helps you to be more delicate with yourself. But that is a good point, because so many times we are beating up ourselves, and that mental playground of how you're feeling, what you feel like you're doing, who you're comparing yourself to, all that does is cause inaction or poor action, because you're not in a good mental space. So it's not helping you. It's not serving you in the least bit. So that was a good point right there.
I agree 100%.
Marika also said, make sure that you always take action. That's funny. That's just what we were talking about. There's a quote by Walt Disney that says something like the easiest way to get started is to stop talking and start doing. I agree, because sometimes you can talk yourself out of the action.
Yeah.
You know, just a lot of talking about, okay, wait, but then I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this once I retire, and I'm going to do this. Or once I get to this point in the business, I'm going to do this and that. And then you just start talking. Then you don't believe yourself no more, because you've been talking so much that you stop believing yourself.
You done started and stopped the business all in your brain.
All in your head without lifting a finger. When you don't realize that with every action step you take, you learn. So no matter what, it's a positive action step, whether it went good or bad, or should I say, whether it went like you thought it should have went, or it went how it went, no matter what, you're learning a lesson. So you're like, oh, okay, now I've set this up, and I realized, you know what, maybe that name, even if I set up the name and I thought I was thinking hard about it, but I went on ahead and set up, maybe even if that name is not the name I want, well, now I need to learn how to change the name. Or do I just want to do a DBA and be able to use multiple names? Oh, well, now I do know how to incorporate myself and how to be incorporated with state. So I could just go ahead and decide to incorporate as another name. All of those things, you know, because you did take that step. So it's so important.
And then usually when you take those steps, the next step that you need to take starts to kind of align naturally, in my opinion. Once you start taking those initial steps, you'll say, okay, it kind of, this is what I need to do next. And it may not even be a thought necessarily, but it's just an action. It just starts to happen. Like, you know, once you get your, you know, what really made it real for me, and we were talking about that prior to starting the call, is when I took that action step to do the proper paperwork for my business. That really took it to the next level of, okay, this is that I put it out there in the atmosphere, and this could possibly be a reality. Because once you get that paperwork going, then boom, you know, then everything, your next step, like I said, starts flowing naturally with what you have to do in regards to like your banking account or business bank account. And then, you know, start taking those natural next steps. And then, like I said, then boom, you look up and you start
all of these things are taking place. Yeah, and you're like, oh wow, okay, wow, I got a client base here. Oh wow, you know, every little step at a time. Okay, I have a payment processing system so that I can start receiving some payments. You know, each of those little baby steps. So that is definitely the key. Like you said, as you start to make those little steps, the next step sometimes reveal itself. And one thing that I realize is that sometimes you only have, all you get is the next instructions. You know what you're supposed to do next. And that's all you need to know, because after that, you'll have the next instructions. And after that, but we want to know everything in advance. We want to be 20 steps in ahead. And let me tell y'all what you look like is when you look like you're trying to be 20 steps ahead and do all these things, when you go to talk to someone that may truly be able to help you and get to the next level, sometimes you're so all over the place that you're not even able to be helped at that time. Or you're not even able to be, because you're focused on so many different things and this and that and this and that. And I'm running this way, running that way. Energetically, when it comes to focus, when you focus your energy on any one thing, if you take all of your energy and focus it on any one thing, that's a superpower in itself. The power of focus is a superpower in itself. And when you start focusing, as far as the law of attraction is concerned, if you focus, whatever you're focusing on, it'll start coming out. It'll start materializing. But our issue is we focus here. Then we're like, no, focus here. Then we're like, no, focus here. Then we're like, and I got to do this, and I got to do that, and blah, 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 blah. And like you're running around with this like kind of antsy energy, and you're running all over the place. So you seem busy and you feel like you're doing a lot, but you're really kind of running in circles because you're running over here, then back to here, then over there, then back to here. So first thing is that focus and getting in a straight line and realizing what is the one most important thing that will make all these things easier. I know I gotta, me and Gayla, my other sister, maybe we'll have all three sisters come on one day. That'll be fun, guys. Give me a thumbs up or emoji if that's something you would like to see. Gayla's in the comments right here, so let us know, guys. Give us some emojis here. But what I was saying was, she was saying that she just saw some products, and I'm about to purchase some. What were they? Teas. Some teas where someone set up a Google, what's it called? Form. A Google form. They haven't set a website yet up. They set up a Google form. They said you pay through Venmo. Here's our menu and what we offer, the different teas.
Oh, I've never seen that before.
They just worked with what they had. They got started. They got to the what'd you say?
I said that was so unique. The way they
very unique and simple. Simple. Really just simple. It doesn't have to be too complicated, guys. When you know where you want to serve and where your value lies, start with that. Start with that. Okay. How can I have them process payments? Okay. I don't have a website yet, but I really need to start processing some payments right now. What can I create? Can I create a sheet that just shows what my services are or what my products are and tell them how there's so many payment processing that makes it simple. Cash App, Venmo, all of those different things right now, PayPal. And so yeah, keep it simple. Definitely.
Oh yeah. Keep it simple.
How do you ladies handle mistakes and challenges as you're growing? That's a great question. You want to say? I'll take it first. I'll take it first.
You got to just tackle one thing at a time. You're only one person. I remember I could go back to my customer service days. You know, when I was a teeny bopper. Well, not teeny bopper, but because customer service is still ongoing. But like restaurants, when I worked at a particular restaurant, I remember we would get so busy. Like, man, you would look up. And it was maybe about 5 to 10 employees, but you look up and this line is out the door. I remember what was it, KFC that I worked at. But I would just think to myself, and I was like a cashier or whatever the case may be, but I would just think to myself, like, I can only help one person at a time. If you look at that line and panic and say, look at this line out the door, you would go crazy. You know what I'm saying? So if you're focusing on what you can do with each client that comes in, each person that comes in, how can I service this person? What do they need? What can I get them to move on to the next person? Then that completely changes your thought process. You know what I'm saying? Because like if you're focusing more on that long line behind you, then you're not going to get anything done. But like I said, if you take the time to really say mentally, I'm just going to focus on one thing at a time, one customer at a time, one task at a time, that allows you to be present in every interaction that you have, with your clientele.
Absolutely. Just focus on what you can control. All you can control is this experience. I can't control how long this line is. I can't control. All I can do is focus on one thing at a time and give that experience my best. A lot of times you're creating more work for you or more challenges, even in the household. Things sometimes, that's why it's so important there's this rule of 3 that I've been trying to implement for the longest, and I finally have it fully implemented, of 3 tasks at maximum that you would possibly want to get done that day that's going to elevate you to the next level. You have the whole day now, because if you may work a 9 to 5, you may work a job where you have to do customer service like we do, and where it's like you have a lot of messages that you're dealing with as well. But you know that, okay, it's just these 3 things. Honestly, if I take an hour out in the morning, I could probably knock those out. So that's why it's so important to be focused beforehand, because it's easy for things to start to, and then another little piggyback to that is, like you were saying, focusing on one thing at a time. A lot of times we're like, I really want to be present for my children. I really want to be present for my spouse. I really want to be physically fit. I really want to have my business together. And that gets you all muffled as well, like you said, of you're focusing on all these things. And what you realize is your child might be sitting right here wanting to do something, wanting to read or reading, and you want to read with them, but you're doing something in business or you're doing something over here. Well, if they're right there and they're right here right now, why not just take the time to have that bonding experience with them and be fully present right there with them during that time? Then be fully, there was a quote that one of the prior businesses you worked with before starting All Pay said, which was like, be here, be where you are when you're there.
Be present. Yes,
be present where you are when you're there. So if you're at home, be at home. If you're at work, be at work. If you're in marketing, be in marketing. So I think that that's big for challenges as well for me to know that as long as you're dealing with people, there's going to be challenges. There's going to be somebody who thought this should have been done this time. So being clear is important too. Being clear on this is what's to be expected for this transaction or for this interaction or whatnot. Planning is also important to me. The more planned and organized I am, the more prepared I am from challenges. And then I can handle them in the moment. Like, you know what? Okay, this is going to be a challenge. This didn't go the way I wanted it to go, but what can I learn from this? That's huge for me too. Whenever I see a challenge, saying, what am I supposed to learn from this? Mm-hmm. Because I believe everything happens for a reason. So I'm like, okay, what was I supposed to get out of this? What is that's a different way to look at the challenge because it's all about perspective.
Yes, I agree. I agree.
Marika said, learn to manage energy instead of time because your energy limits what you can do with your time. So you have to manage it wisely. Absolutely. Oh, yes. And you have a limited supply of energy. You have a limited amount of decision making. There's I'm reading this book right now or listening to this book, almost done with it, called This One Thing. And it's all about prioritizing and focusing on one thing, because one of the things they say is there's really no such thing as multitasking. What you're really doing is you're switching. You're switching focus. You're getting this much into this thing, then switching focus to this, then switching focus to that. And all that switching takes energy. So you look up and you haven't gotten nothing done. You can put all your energy into switching modes or whatnot. And so it's so important for you to manage your energy. Know when you have your highest energy. I have my highest energy early in the day.
Yeah.
That's why we're here at 11 o'clock right now. You know what I mean? Why would I put myself in the situation and sabotage myself and even though there's a lot of people that are more available at 8, 9 o'clock, 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night. Mm-hmm. But you have to understand what works for you as well. And how can you create a win-win with what works for you when you're you have your most energy and making sure you manage that. That is 100% true. I definitely
agree. I think energy is so important. Speaking of energy, I think it's good to put that energy out there. I mean, the energy out there that you feel for your business. Like, you know, even if like when I was first starting, my business is a big business, you know, even if I got one client, I got a big, because you're ultimately putting that energy out into the atmosphere, give good energy for your business. Think of it as even if, like I said, even if you have 10 clients, one client, no clients, even if you have an established client,
you have an idea.
You're building those relationships. This is a big business. And then that gives you room to grow too, because then you start really thinking, what can I do to make it a big corporation? Mm-hmm. Where can I research who is doing what I'm doing to make it a big? Then you start focusing on your website. How can I better my website? And before you know, you look up and it is.
And it's starting to manifest into a big business. Absolutely.
This is a corporation. It's $1 million business. I think Mama used to always, the positive affirmations over yourself and things like that. She would always do that throughout the years when we were kids, like positive affirmations, speaking things as not as though they were, speaking things into existence. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. So that's so important.
And it's so important for you to know that if you have the idea or if someone else has done what you've done, then it's possible. Every single thing in front of you right now, from this camera to Facebook to YouTube to those pictures behind your image, they all started as an idea. Every last one of them. They started as an idea. They decided to incorporate. They decided to get their EIN. They figured out what products and services they had. It all started as an idea. So don't negate or don't kind of discount your ideas. The fact that it's an idea in general, for me, in my opinion, when you have an idea, that means that someone else can be served by that. The fact that you even were able to receive that idea and your mental space was sacred enough for an idea to be dropped down into you, that means that there's someone out there that's going to be touched, going to be benefited, going to be serviced by the ideas that you had. So never look at your ideas like, oh yeah, that's just an idea, or oh yeah. A lot of times it also has to do with the people that you're putting around yourself when it comes to energy as well, and how they talk to themselves. and what feedback they give for themselves. So make sure you're listening to that. And that's where that protecting your energy is important. That's something I have a hard time with sometimes because I'm a real open book. Like sometimes overshare open. You know what I mean? And like, but you have to realize that everything isn't for everybody. And you have to have that protectiveness over your energy as well. Like, you know what? I'm not going to share this yet because I'm still working out the details, specifically with this person. Let me share this with someone who's done business. Let me share this with someone who's doing some things for themselves. Let me share this with someone who I actually want my life to be modeled after.
Yeah.
A lot of times we share our things
or you have in common, or you have things in common with that person. You have similarities in your life, because
absolutely.
I feel you, because if you're sharing your ideas sometimes with someone who may be on a completely different path, or just may be doing different things in their life, it just may, that could be a reason to deter you, because they may not understand, what you're going through, or may not be able to mentally support you, the way you may not necessarily even need to be mentally supported, but they just may not be able to balance off your energy. You know what I'm saying?
That's it. And there's nothing, you don't have to feel like frustrated. There's nothing wrong with that person. One thing that you have to realize is if someone hasn't done it in their life, a lot of times the first thing that they're going to do is they're going to defend that. If they hear something that can be triggering for them, that can be, that can mean to them like, oh, okay, if they're starting a business, then I guess working a 9 to 5 ain't good enough anymore. Or I guess, you know what I mean? Because now I have to check myself because of the dream that I had a long time ago and wanted to do a long time ago, and wasn't bold enough to take that first step and to say, oh, this is an idea. I think I'm going to start brainstorming on this. I think I'm going to take the next step and the next step, because that triggers in them not showing up for their vision and not showing up at the max of where they can be. They then put that energy on you and say like, oh, well, no, well, what make you think you could do this or this and that? So it's so important for you everyone has those type of people around them. Everyone has people who drain their energy. I shouldn't even say that. I take it back. Reverse. Right. But everyone has dealt with that type of energy, and it's so important for you to know how to deal with that type of energy. It's so, for me,
or if you can deal, sometimes I just can't. I honestly, I've tried, I have my limitations. I think I had more, or maybe just because I wasn't, in tune with my energy. And you know what I'm saying? I seem like, past years I was able to deal with it more. But like I said, that's probably because I was on a different energy level than I'm on now. Because sometimes the relationships you may have had with people for years may have to shift as well, because your energy is not the same.
Boom. Boom. And that's big girl panty decision talking right there. It's like, you know what? Our energy is changing. I even had to ask myself sometimes when I was on energetic changes, when I was going up, when I was elevating, because there's an old saying that goes, birds of a feather flock together. Or there's an old saying that goes, if I want to know about you, show me your 5 closest friends, or something of that nature. If you're the smartest person in the room, you need to get another circle. You want to make sure that you're also getting fed and you're also elevating, because if you're the one that's at the highest energy level, that means everyone else around you is draining your energy. And so that's so important, like you said, to just determine, you know what? Why am I still attracting this energy? Why am I still connecting? Why am I still giving it my time? Why am I still picking up the phone? Why am I still, watching these shows that I've even noticed there's certain shows I used to watch. I used to be into the Real Housewives a lot. And I noticed that that energy would sometimes be like transmuted through me. like me and Robert to start arguing or something. I'm like, wait a minute.
Because it's not as complex as people think, whereas, maybe, or sometimes you may think it's just, you have to be in tune, spiritually and all that for energy, but it's not. It's really sometimes physical, what you associate yourself with daily, what you put in your body, what you choose to spend your time watching, what on the TV, or what you spend your time doing. It's not very complex. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to,
it's more
if
simple.
You're shifting your energy or wanting to focus more on one thing or the other. It's
absolutely. It's simpler than you think. It's every moment. It's this moment right now that you're watching this video and you give it a like. And that just brings in what you're telling Facebook or what you're telling YouTube or whatever algorithm is. This is what I want to see more of. I don't even like if my little one, my 6-year-old is watching YouTube or watching a video, I make sure that I turn it on incognito or turn it off because I don't want him messing with my algorithm. I don't want them showing me no Roblox and no and that's what I like. It's important for me to focus on my feed and make sure I'm getting the right things in my feed. So that's why it's so important, because people pay for your views. People pay for your time. People pay for every single thing you're watching. So that is huge, to make sure that that is what you want to create. You know? Absolutely. Let's see. Well, there it is. Yep. She was saying learning energy. We read that one. YouTube is a great tool to research, absolutely, and find fast info. People who already did the work. Coaches is a great way, finding people who have done things. It's so much easier than it was back in the day to find people who have done things that have been similar to what you're working on.
Oh,
absolutely. Yeah. You got this. That's some of the advice that you give, Love to Life. Awesome. I like that. Just tell yourself you got this. Yes.
Yeah, motivate yourself. And then sometimes you got to talk to yourself, you know, like, you got this, girl. You got
absolutely. That is so important. A lot of people don't talk about that. A lot of people don't. Getting yourself revved up, especially if you work from home or you're working for yourself, getting yourself revved up for the day. My jam this week has been coming in hot. You know what I mean? That's how I want to feel. Like, I'm coming in hot to this work. I'm coming in, you know, I want you to feel my energy because I'm adding value and I'm bringing value. So it's so important for you to be aware of and for you to know that your energy is important information. What you're exuding is important information. It's speaking, it's attracting, it's bringing in, it's creating. It's very important. So getting out ahead of it by talking to yourself properly is a great way to start to really manifest exactly what you want and what you desire.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I agree.
And there is Minnow right there, our beautiful mother. Focus and consistency is the key to the breakthrough. Absolutely. I agree. Focus and consistency.
Yeah.
I was just talking about that actually with Gayla as she was coming in, even on fitness. One of the biggest things I've been saying, especially, you know, a lot of people with the pandemic has gained, like, you know, the pandemic 15 or something of that nature, whatever, just being at home and just things changing or whatnot. But I've been just saying how I've been committed to 15 minutes, a minimum of 15-minute walk before I start my work every day, if nothing else. What happens after that? I get on there and I'll be like, you know what? I'm going to go a mile. You know what? Let me go ahead and do my toning and do everything else that I got to do after this. Sometimes it's just about that small focus and the consistency in the small. I know a story I heard where someone said he decided that for the first 21 days of his fitness experience that he would just go to the gym. He would just go to the gym. That was his own goal. Get dressed, go to the gym every day.
But sometimes just seeing the people working out, that might be a motivation. You know, that could have possibly motivated him to
absolutely. And start to really work that muscle of just showing up and that consistency. Absolutely. Let's see here. Marika said, learn from complaints you receive. Don't take it personal. Seems that the most rude and unhappy clients are the ones that teach you where the holes are in your business. Yes, Marika. We get to deal with some of that together.
They don't care. They're going to tell you.
They're going to tell you. And, you know, and just be like, okay, well, why do they feel this way? How did I do that? How can I adjust that? How can I make sure that this does get done? What was it? Because there are some, like, that's why energy is important. Because I can tell you this, guys, after you do something for so long, you start to realize what energies work with you, what energies you can benefit, and which ones you can't. At this point in time in my business, I can immediately tell the moment I have a first conversation with someone, whether or not the services are going to be beneficial or not because the services are beneficial or not, because they're proven to be beneficial. We've set up over 4,000 nonprofits. We've received over $10 million in grant funding. That's already proven. However, I happen to know that there are certain people that'll walk through the door, and because they're putting out the energy of not being happy with anything, they're putting out the energy of, you know, of the things that they may have received in customer service previously, or they're putting out the energy of give as little as possible and get back as much as possible, that they're not going to benefit from the services, no matter how good the services are. So when you can start to recognize that and say, oh, oops, you know, this ain't a good energy fit. Maybe it'll be a good energy fit for someone else. Nothing's bad or good. It's just not a good fit. It's not going to be elevated.
Yeah, and you don't necessarily have to have to look at it as a bad thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, just with energy in general, just because our energies don't intertwine doesn't mean necessarily anything negative. I want everybody to be successful, and I want everybody to, you to find services that you need, but it just probably would not necessarily be,
a good fit for my program, which is why it's so important to have a clear program as to what you provide and what you can do and the services that you give and the value that you give. That's so important. I think a good example is in a relationship. You may just not click energies with someone if you're dating or something like that. That does not mean that that's a bad person or that you're a bad person. Y'all energies don't click. Do them a favor if they don't, and recognize that and be okay with saying, no, this ain't quite on my energetic realm, so that you can allow them to experience something that clicks more with their energy and vice versa. It's not a negative thing. It's just that doesn't fit with where I'm going right now. That's why it's so important to be clear and have that focus. Absolutely.
And then sometimes I've seen that, different things that you do daily triggers different energy. Like for me, I've kind of replaced, because I've never been a real big TV person, but like you said, I did used to watch the shows. I don't even watch the Housewives and stuff like that anymore. I just can't keep up. With the pandemic, it seemed like everybody just doing interviews. You know what I'm saying? If that's the case, we might as well just be, on, doing what we're doing. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But I've replaced it with music. Because for me, sometimes music is more of an energy, and it's able to shift my energy more to a different place. You know what I'm saying? Depending on what I'm listening to, or it can be inspiring, or it can be motivational, or it can make you happy, or give you a feel like maybe a boost of energy. You know what I'm saying? So I think sometimes music is good, and it's so important. People sometimes you sleep on music. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
Because it can control your energy a lot, for sure.
Absolutely. I actually have been teaching dance therapy. A lot of you guys know, with one of the transitional homes that we work with, and I think it's so important. Movement and music. That has been known for. Music is the first thing that they do in church to get energy flowing. So it's so important to know the different things that you tie to that can elevate your energy. For me, music at the beginning of the day, or not at the very beginning, but like once I'm getting ready and stuff like that, that really can put me in a different place. And it's a way for you to heal yourself. And like you said, it's also a way to, okay, I want to get rid of this. Always think of, okay, what am I going to replace this with necessarily? And again, Real Housewives, there's nothing wrong with that. If that's your vibe, and maybe you can even get maybe what you're doing or your business has to do with fashion, or has to do with, and there's something you get from that. We have to get out of that concept of right and wrong, and, okay, I can't do this because they don't do this, or I can't. It's not about that. It's about figuring out what's right for you and what's right for your energy and what's elevating you. It's about a feeling. This feels elevating to me. This feels energetic. Oh, I'm getting ideas as I'm watching Shark Tank, or as I'm dancing and just moving my body or whatnot. I'm feeling better. Okay, let me do more of that. Or this is draining me. I get even more drained. I don't even feel good after this. I don't, this didn't do nothing for me. It didn't teach me absolutely nothing. It didn't elevate me in any kind of way. Okay, maybe that's something that I need to lean away from. So that's so important, noticing those things. And on the opposite as well. If music speaks to you. I know for me, I've always loved to dance. I used to teach Zumba. I've taught dance therapy, but sometimes I go weeks without dancing. Why? If that's something you love to do, get in your room, wherever you do, get in front of the mirror and get down.
Make time. Because what's the saying? You make time for what's important to you.
Absolutely.
So you got to make some time. And then I think we were talking about it. You were saying how you kind of have start shifting the first couple hours or something like that to making time for.
That's a good point. That is a
your
good
mind
point.
Right and making sure
the
you're
first
good
2 hours of my day. Because it's been huge, because it's like, sometimes our days change, guys. If for those of you who don't know, I'm in a blended family. And so sometimes I have my little one and sometimes I don't. Well, that kind of can throw things a little bit off, because you're like, okay, I got this routine when he's not here. And then when he comes, it's like, okay. So one of the commitments I made that was just a huge aha was the first 2 hours of my day, whatever time that starts. If I have the little one and he's doing homeschool and we have to do some things with him and I don't start my day to 10 o'clock, it don't matter. The first 2 hours of those days is dedicated to our priority items, our 3 things that's on our priorities, and fitness and health. Because guess what? If your fitness and your health is not on point, it's going to affect everything else. You're not going to be able to show up for your clients. You're not going to be able to show up for your family. You know what I mean? And so saying, you know what? I know that I can go 4, 6, sometimes even 8 hours back in the day before I was balanced, even longer than that, given to work, given to clients, given to messages and things like that. If I can give them that much, surely dedicating 2 hours to what needs to be moved up inside of our business and inside our own health and well-being, I can do that. And that has been huge. That's been a huge change and a huge shift. So knowing that you are the designer of your day, guys, you can look at your day and say, this isn't working. How can I adjust this? What is some adjustment that I can make? That you get to paint that paintbrush. You get to be the designer. Yes. We have a couple of more comments here. Good morning, Lakisi. And Love to Life said, that's right. Your thinking and your energy on your business grows the business. Your word sows seeds into the universe. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. If you're going into it, I was just looking at, I love Will and Jada, and I was just looking at one of his newest videos. Guys, check it out on YouTube if you get a minute, the last one that was posted. And it was about mindset. And he was saying that he's always been into chess. And one of the things that Jada did for him at some point in time was got him a couple of days with like one of the greatest chess players to really train him. And one of the biggest takeaways he got was, he said, you have to see, I want you to look down at the board and I want you to see where you want the pieces, see where everywhere where you want the pieces ahead of time, see where exactly how you want the board to look. He was like, well, wait a minute, no, because if this happened, then I have to adjust this and then, but I don't know if I could do that and this. And he was like, that's when you fail every time right there. It's starting to have that conversation. You need to see in your mind mentally exactly where you need to be, what the next step is, what the vision is, and what you can do when you have that vision. Everything that happens in your day is going to start to be able to be tagged with, this is bringing me closer towards my vision, or this is taking me away from my vision. This ain't got nothing to do with my vision. I got something that I need to do today. I have some priorities today that I need to get taken care of. And I'm not going to put those priorities on another level because somebody sent me a sales email in my email and it's a good coupon. Or, you know, come on, y'all, prioritize. You know, like these are the things that are moving me closer to my vision. So that focus is absolutely key.
Yes, that's a good one. That is a good one.
I agree. She also said, everything not for everybody. Protect your vision and let people watch your work. Some people are going to watch from afar, guys, and that is okay. That it is an honor to be in your inner circle, to be in your presence, to be connected to you as a client, to be connected to you as a friend or a family member. Always remember that. If you have an elevated energy, it's an honor. It's an honor. You're giving. You're always going to be giving because your energy is elevating. So with that being said, being protective of it is huge. You know, those who disrespect that in some kind of way, or those who drain that in some kind of way, will just have to watch from afar. And that's okay too. There's nothing wrong with that either. You're just in two different places and that's okay. And Mom said, you have to guard your heart. What you are watching and listening to affects your attitude and energy. 100%. Absolutely. Absolutely. Marika, oftentimes you are able to tell in the initial message. Girl, Marika, guys, she works with customer service with us. Shout out to Marika. She does an amazing job. She does 2 pretty much full-time jobs. And I tell you, it's been so beneficial. I'm in so much gratitude to be able to handle client communication with another individual because people wouldn't even believe the stories that
people wouldn't even believe would know firsthand because it seems like she initially interacts with a lot of the clients. So
absolutely. I don't know what happened here, guys. I'm sorry, my camera just went down. Let me pick it back up here. But Kandis, you're okay. There we go. Don't know what happened.
We see you.
Somebody didn't want that message to get out. Like I said.
Right. Yeah.
Shout out to Marika for helping me with deal and even helping to hold. If you have someone close to you to be able to hold you accountable, guys, one of the biggest things that I do is I have calls on certain days because that is one of the things that takes the most energy out of me. So I have a coaching day, I have a marketing day, I have a calls day where it's sales and new clients and things like that. But sometimes, because I love interacting with people and I love helping people and shifting people so much, I will sometimes, the first thing that I'll do is start to pull from the things that I'm working on to try to serve more. The funny thing that happens energetically is almost every time I do that, that person don't end up showing up for the call or don't end up. I'm like, I didn't know. But Marika will check me. She'll be like, no, Mondays you don't take calls. You process everything from over the weekend. And you know we're going to have a lot to process because you know you're off on the weekend. And that's beneficial. Those are the type of people that you want around yourself. So thank you. Shout out to Marika for really helping in that area. And I'm able to say, oh yeah, you're right. We're gonna have to change that. Let's give them another, another time or another day. She said, how would you suggest someone build a bigger or better network? That's a very good question, Marika. I would say number one, focusing in on one person at a time. If you've really learned how to help and how to create change and create movement with a certain type of individual. For me, that's entrepreneurs in their new phase, like the first 1 to 5 years or before beginning. That's the area I'm able to serve the best. So when that's the case, whenever I'm speaking, whenever I'm doing video, I was just watching, shout out to Erin on Demand. I'm a part of one of her networks, and she does a lot of video presentation and things like that. And she talks really a lot about getting out of the mindset of hello everyone, hello everybody. This is, like you have to get in the mindset. That's why I love interviews, because you're talking to one person at a time. Get in the mindset of who your avatar is, who your person is that you can help, and talking to them in that language. 90% of the people that we serve is minorities. So why am I going to be talking in a different voice or in a different tone or in a different talking style that will relate to someone else when those are the people that are naturally attracted to me? Go ahead and serve the people that are coming to you and that are wanting your services, and find out how you can serve them more and more and more. For a long time in marketing, I was always like, okay, I need to market more. How do I market more to get more views and more people and more follows and more likes and more? And that's a disconnection. When you're like, how can I help the person that I know is most beneficial and has really grown from my business and for my services the most? How can I help them the more? Somebody else, there may be another person that is not connected, or another person that is not in that type of person that you help, that won't be served by it. And that's okay. Mm-hmm. I think that when you grow your market, when you say, I know what it's for, I'm okay with saying no. Being okay with saying no. That's why I said that was huge for you in your first year, to realize that. So in some cases, it's just a no. This is not, I know I'm not going to be able to service you in this area. So I'm going to just go ahead and say no. And we're not going to do that energetic transaction, which that's all that money and paying for services is an energetic transaction. I think Gayla was mentioning that the other day, that it's just, okay, you have this energy. You've already been there. You know the steps in this area. I'm transferring the energy of money to you. You're transferring this energy to me. If you know that energy is going to sit on a place that's not going to be moved, and it's not going to be valued, and it's not going to be elevated, then you might just have to say no. And I think in saying no and knowing who I serve, that has made the way for me to really bring in more people to serve. So in marketing, not thinking about, what are you going to do with 20,000 followers? What does that even mean to you if we're 100,000? Or sometimes people get caught up in those numbers and forget that you can only really serve one person at a time, or whichever program at a time, or a group of individuals at a time. You are not here for every single person on this earth. So really showing up at your best. Live video, guys, what we're doing right now. Fortunately, we are not back in it. Back in the day when you started a business, you have to get some flyers. Do you remember those times of getting flyers, even cards? You don't even have to get cards no more. You can, but that's not even necessary anymore. You have to get flyers, get cards, send out some mailers, which might have cost you thousands of dollars. Maybe do a commercial on TV, which is in the tens of thousands of dollars or whatnot. Everything has changed in the last 20, 30 years. We all have access to a network, knowing that you already have a network. Whoever those people are who are following you right now, who are connected to you right now, those people are your network. They're connected to you for a reason, serving them at your highest capacity. One great thing about video is we may be talking on this video right now, so a certain amount of people are watching right now, but guess what? This will live forever right here. We might be serving somebody from this video 20 years from now, watching this same video or whatnot. So remembering that, take what you're going to be doing individually and find a way to do it most productively. It's more productive if you can show up, and if you're okay with yourself, you're okay with making mistakes live, which happens, you're okay with your video cutting off, you're okay with rolling with those things, you're going to be able to serve a lot more people by showing up fully for this hour that we're wrapping up, guys, right now, but showing up fully for this hour, as opposed to having 30 individual hour conversations, or our videos average around 300 or something, 300 and something average conversations. It's easier to show up and be productive and serve from this standpoint. So I would definitely say live video. Anything you would add on that, building your network?
I just agree with you. Just really tapping into what your the client that you're meant to serve, and really just shifting that focus and that energy there, because that basically weeds out someone who may not necessarily benefit from your product. Because when you're thinking about it, you want to make sure that your client is benefiting and that you are helping them the way they need to be helped. So once you can identify that client, and sometimes you'll have that client, because I think we were talking about a couple of clients. I was like, wow, this, you know what I'm saying, interaction was
really
just so
enjoyed it.
it was just like the smoothest interaction I've ever had. But ideally, that's how you want all your clients. You know what I'm saying? It's not necessary. We know things happen or whatever, but it can happen when you're working with your clientele that you're supposed to be working with. Everything can go smoothly.
Absolutely.
It can be better than you expected. A business can be better than you expected it to be. You know what I'm saying? When you're serving in your purpose and doing what you are called to do, or doing what you like to do, doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Starting there. If you're doing something you're actually passionate about, I feel like having your own business, having control of your time, knowing that whatever your vision is something that can be manifested, and having someone to hold your hand along the way is something that is life-changing. It can change. That's the businesses, nonprofits, those who serve others. Those are the individuals, in my personal opinion, who change the world. They create products, services. They have funding to be able to put into products and services and movements and things like that change the world. So making sure that you understand why you're doing what you're doing. I think that that's huge in how you show up. Another thing is, one thing that me and Kandis do a lot of, and other businesses. There's a lot of people I work with, guys. I just had Coach Austin on. He has his own separate business or whatnot. We do a lot of work with Natalie. A lot of you guys know her from actually, she just reintroduced the course on grants. What is it called, Gayla? Do you know that off back? A new grant course, but basically about the art. That's what it is, the art of successfully securing the grant. And so it's so important for you to work with other people in your field. I think that helps to bridge your network as well, because you can say, hey, I provide services on this level. I know people sometimes are looking for those. Since we set up businesses and nonprofits, people are often looking for payroll. There's Kandis, she does payroll or whatnot, looking for other people that do different things that may be able to complement what you do, and how you can work together so you all can bridge the networks instead of working with individual networks. They may have 10,000 followers. You may have 10,000 followers. Now you can do something together, and you can bridge those networks. We're hoping to get back onto Kareem's channel, which he has like over 200,000 followers. We were on there last year, and I'm going to be, shout out to Kareem if you happen to be watching. I'm going to be giving him a call here soon, because he's been talking about business, and that's our favorite thing that we like to talk about. And so just making sure that you take and know, this is huge. This is something I learned from a book called The Earth is Hiring. It's on Audible if you want to check it out. It's all about spirituality, manifesting money, turning your business into something that's manifested. It's called The Earth is Hiring. And one thing that they said is the business visual is a hexagon. A lot of times as entrepreneurs, we look at it as a singular. Like, we're coming in, this is our business, this is what we do. And as long as it's beneficial to what we're doing individually, we're good to go. But you have to look and see how you can be beneficial to the entire hexagon that's all surrounded about your business, the other services, the other things that get in people's way, the mindset part of it, the time management and managing family and household and business and things like that. How can I interlock inside of this entire hexagon and not look at it as just a singular thing? So that's another way, networking wise, as far as growing your network. Absolutely. We got a couple more comments, guys, and then we're going to chime off here. Marika said, learning to be patient. I had to learn that overnight success was a huge joke. Thank you for us in this one, Marika. Everyone wants to be an entrepreneur, but few people have the patience and the stamina to make it a reality. And if that ain't how you end it, that is it right there. Most people do not know how to show up on a daily. A lot of times I do believe in working smarter, not harder, but best believe that whether you're working smarter or harder, the word work is still in there. And work is sometimes just showing up, giving it your best, making sure that you're putting yourself in an environment where you can really show up and give your best spiritually, mentally, health wise, and things like that. And doing that on a daily and taking the marathon, not the short. It's a marathon. And being okay with that. I would definitely
It's a
agree.
marathon. Yes, definitely.
You always want it to happen faster than it does.
If you do. And then you can't, you can, like you said, you can work smarter, not harder, but you can't negate the work. It's hard work.
You're going to have to show up. That's
the bottom line.
Absolutely.
So that's why it's so important to take some of the steps that we were saying, like being delicate with yourself and taking it step by step, because the work, you have to put in the work.
So when it's time to work, you're all the way there. You're not, so my energy's down. Oh, I slept bad. Oh, I didn't eat right things. When I do show up, if I'm going to show up, if I'm taking the first 2 hours for my day in the morning and I happen to show up at 11 o'clock, that's the time that I can show up because I had to take those 2 hours and I had the little one and I had these things. You better believe that from 11 o'clock to 4:35 o'clock, I'm in there. There is no other distractions. This is what I'm doing. Everything else is in place. Whatever needs to be done with the little ones, whatever needs to be done outside of here, this is what I'm doing. I'm 100% and I'm giving it my all, because that's what the clients, that's what the individuals that you service, if you're a nonprofit, that's what they deserve, guys. They deserve your all. They deserve you to be all the way there. They deserve to know that you got some rest. And you didn't ate, you know what I mean? They don't want to be on a call and you ain't ate, you ain't got no rest. That's not showing up. So just sometimes showing up in your best, taking full care of yourself. That's it, guys. I have really enjoyed having you guys come on. Last thing I will end with is this is coming up on our Flex Week, guys. If you do not get our emails and are not part of our newsletter, make sure you go over to our site to be a part of that. One thing we talked about in this last newsletter that just went out today was that we're planning our May calendar. We want our May calendar. If you guys are in our nonprofit group, we want to make sure that our May calendar is serving you all time-wise and as far as the subjects that we're talking about. So we asked for suggestions. So hopefully you guys responded with some suggestions for that May calendar and the challenges that you are truthfully having, so that we can make sure that we are speaking to those challenges, because that group is for you. If you're not a part of our group, you can find more information on our website as well, clarkandclark.org. Kandis's information will also be listed here as well. If you guys need help with payroll or other type of business services that she provides as well, guys, take a look at that, HR and some other things as well, guys. Her links will be here as well. Hey, cuz Tyrone said hello, Nana. This is also our family. Order is the first priority of the day. Yes. You got to have the things in order. Absolutely. And hello, Miss Priest. Thank you so much for joining us in the Q&A. She's a member of our group, guys. So again, if you want more information on that, we had a bomb Q&A this last week where we're just able to go back and forth and really kind of do surgery on what's stopping you and how we can move those further. We talked specifically about what Nana just said. Order is the first priority of the day, of really organizing and getting set on what you can accomplish in a day and how you can get those things accomplished. So this has been wonderful, Kandis. Thank you again for coming on.
Always a pleasure.
We appreciate you. And we're going to have her come on regularly, you all. She's going to be coming on regularly every couple of weeks, guys. Next week is our Flex Week. Make sure you guys are taking a Flex Week as well. Each month we take a Flex Week to really sit back, look at what we have going on, what's working, what's not working, reassess, plan, prioritize. That's so important, guys, for you to take that time off sometimes to reset. And then we're going to be coming in hot on May with some amazing individuals that'll be coming on next week, guys, at 11 a.m. EST. Valerie's going to be telling us exactly what she did to have a successful nonprofit fundraiser event, which, as you guys know,
to that one.
Sorry about that. Battery's running low. As you guys know, events, that's been kind of a touchy space because of everything that's going on. So we're going to hone in. If you guys are planning on doing some type of live events, make sure that you show up next week, Saturday, 11 a.m. EST, guys. And we also have some very special treats coming up for May, guys. We're going to be talking about branding, the importance of branding, also the importance of vacation and taking time off as well, guys. All that coming up here in May. And we will see you all next Saturday at 11 a.m. Don't forget to let us know what you want to see in May so we can join those in as well. All right. Thanks again, Kandis. We will see you all in the next live.
Okay. See everybody later.
All right, guys. See you in the next one.